Today, we're going to do things a little different. It's not the first Sunday. That's okay. So I invited my friend Kyle Stoker here. Was it probably about a year or so ago?
Yeah, I believe so.
Him and I met, and he kind of came with this vision of starting a ministry called NeighborLink. He was a part of it in Fort Wayne, and back when I started at TUFW up in Fort Wayne, I was familiar with NeighborLink. They had just started at the time. And so, anyway, him and I were talking about this, and well, here it is about a year later, and NeighborLink is officially launching. So, Kyle, why don't you kind of tell us what NeighborLink is, where it's at, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so thank you all again for having me. I really appreciate it, and thanks for lending out your pastor to be a part of this ministry. He is a huge blessing to us and full of wisdom and guiding us in different directions and things we're doing. And so as Sean said, we've been working on starting NeighborLink for about a year. Thank you, IRS, for being so fun to work with and doing all that. Right? So we really appreciate that. But we are officially kicked off. We are a nonprofit. And so our whole goal is to bring practical expressions of God's love to our neighbors. And that's really the challenge of this area. We live in a time where really we are more connected than we have ever been. I can go on Facebook or Instagram and see what my friends in Fort Wayne are doing in California and know little tidbits about their life. But the challenge is, do we truly know what's going on in their lives and what those needs are? And so what NeighborLink's goal is that we are connecting Christian neighbors to the people around them, and then able to serve those people in any way they need. So the goal of NeighborLink really isn't just to help and go over and do, construction, but it's, hey, do you need help with groceries? Do you just need help picking them up? There's so many people in this community that are elderly or others that just need somebody to go pick up groceries for them on Thursday night. And so the beauty of this ministry is if you need help with, just picking up the groceries, going to the store, getting dropped off for a doctor's appointment, those are different needs that we can serve, and they're very simple and practical. And I don't want to keep going, but one thing that I want to share that I think is great, we actually just had a lady ask for help this week. She has no family in the area. She's in her 70s, and she's got these different doctor's appointments for what's going on in her life right now. And she just can't find a ride. And so we were actually able to set up different Christians that she can reach out to and say, hey, I have an appointment this Thursday, and they can go serve if they're available. And that's the beauty of the ministry, is that you can serve as you can. It's not saying when I volunteer that I can do this 20 hours a week or every Wednesday night or every Tuesday. It's as you can serve, go on the site and find it. And we can talk more about that in a second.
I've been in several meetings where it's common to kind of have that discussion of we want to help people, but we don't know what to do, and we don't know where those needs are. NeighborLink is like basically joins that together. And so, why don't you tell us about, okay, how do the volunteers and the jobs, how does that connect?
Yeah, so we wanted to make our site as simple as possible. So I work in IT for a living, and my wife makes fun of me all the time because I will go onto a website and just get confused, and she's like, you literally do this for a living. So when we built our website, we wanted to make it simple. There's 2 buttons when you go to our website, and it says, I can serve and I need help. So if you're interested in serving, you go and click that button, say, I can serve, fill out your information, put in your phone number, put in your email, and then it goes through and does a background check, and then it puts you into the system. Now, this is where the beauty of this platform and what's been built is the people who need help, it goes in and says, I need help. You click that button, you put in the need, you put in your information, your contact info, And as soon as you click, I need help, it notifies everybody that is a volunteer in the system and says, there is a new need, would you like to serve? And so I get texts every time there's a new need, and I can go look and go, all right, hey, this lady needs groceries to this Thursday. All right, what am I doing Thursday? Can I do that? Oh, yep, I can. And usually my wife is kind enough that she's running to get groceries anyway. I'm like, hey, could you pick up her Walmart order and just drop it off to her? Or an example would be when we lived in Fort Wayne, there would be Thursday nights we had free, and it's like, all right, can we go do something? So we would look and say, hey, this gentleman needs his leaves raked up. We could do that as a family. And that's probably the part that's been most impactful for me and our family, is we can actually take our kids to these projects. I mean, we do check to make sure, like, where are we going? Who is it? And then we actually take them with us. So my oldest back there, Bentley, actually helped this past Christmas. He was lucky enough one night that he was able to come with me, and we actually were renovating a woman's bathroom that she actually had a heart attack. And she came home and her entire bathroom was flooded with water and the subfloor had fallen through. And so we worked with her. She was able to pay for materials, but she couldn't afford the labor costs. So we're like, hey, we'll do the work if you can get the materials. So me and a couple other gentlemen and my oldest back there put new subfloor in. We're able to do that. And it's a huge blessing to these families just to be able to serve and help in really a small or large fashion in that way. So it's really the power of the platform that makes it easy.
If I want to volunteer, Kyle, like, do I have to pay for the background check? Do I have to pay for, like, any supplies or anything like that?
No, so that's the great part. So when you go on and sign up, you get two options. Either if you want to pay for the background check, it's about $15 just for us to go through. But if you're not able to pay for that, but you still want to serve, that cost can be covered by NeighborLink. So we'll actually have funds available to do that. So.
Okay. And then, like, so then if I'm helping somebody with a project or whatever, like, it's not my tab to pay. If I want to donate towards that, I can, right? But that's kind of where NeighborLink organization kind of comes in.
Yes, 100%. So that's where none of the funds or costs are on the volunteers unless you choose it to be. You can always volunteer and say, hey, we're willing to cover the cost. So example being the woman with her bathroom. We looked at her drywall. There was actually a lot of just the drywall was crumbling. And so we volunteered. We're like, hey, we'll cover the cost to get the drywall replaced for you. But that was as an organization. And so we actually, when a new project comes in, we meet with the families and meet with the people that need help and try to make sure that we know all of the criteria that they're going to need and when. That way the volunteers know exactly when they say, I want to serve this person, they know what they're getting into and what the project looks like and things like that.
Okay. If I own a business or a part of a business, can I get my company or something like that involved in this, or is it just like individuals?
Yes, so we do have a few businesses in the area, so we are working on a program where companies can help and become company sponsors. Okay. And one of the goals, we actually have two different organizations in town. One's a large construction company here, where they're actually going to implement a policy with their employees where if their employee wants to go volunteer to do a project and they bring a friend with them to go serve, they'll actually get paid to go do that project. And they've also volunteered that if there's anything too large for us, that they're willing to go and do a few projects a year to be able to say, hey, we'll go and source that and do it. And then actually another example of, I just talked to a lawn care company. As we all know, you get lulls in between jobs or when you can show up to houses. So he asked if he could have access to the site when there's different lawn care projects, leaves that need picked up or things like that. He can actually go and send his guys to those projects in between different jobs that he has, or if he's having them wait on something. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Very excited that we're blessed to be in a county where even the companies want to be a part of it.
Right, right. Yeah, so, I think this is a great opportunity, not just for like individuals, but families as well, youth groups, companies, maybe even kind of claiming your block. And so, you go on there regularly to check to make sure all your neighbors are being taken care of. And, if they have any needs, maybe, the Lord lays it on your heart and so you kind of take ownership of your block or of your neighborhood, so to say.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Our hope and goal is that between churches and the people in the communities, that we'll be able to say that our county is covered by the Christians of it. One thing that I've always loved about Mercer County, so my wife and I actually moved a few years ago to Fort Wayne, Indiana. We were born and raised in Mercer County. I've loved it here, but we felt like the Lord was calling us to move to Fort Wayne. And so we went and did some church planting there and did some different things. But one thing that you just miss about our county is how this county rallies together in those big events. I'll never forget when we had the tornado come through this area, and when Red Cross came in, because I was down in the middle of Fairground Road helping and doing stuff with different groups and stuff. And I remember when Red Cross showed up, and they're like, all right, what can we do? And there was literally nothing for them to do. The people of this county took care of everything that was needed and making sure it was addressed and doing those things. And that's really our hope, is that we're not just doing that in those big events, but we're doing it in our day-to-day lives. That's one thing I'm really trying to instill in my children and my family, is that, there are people that have needs, and there are people that need things. And sometimes it is the smallest item. We actually have a woman, she's gone to church her entire life. She's 85 years old. She's now stuck in a wheelchair and unable to leave her home. And she actually went out and put a need out saying, I just need someone to visit me. And so now once a month I go over there, and I actually have other people I've got from our group that I've said, hey, once a week you go here. You only have to be there for a half hour, but just talk with her. And it's a beautiful expression of just how we can share the love of Christ with these people and spend time with them. And it can be the smallest scene of just a conversation. And the hope is that it's not in just one time, but we're truly building a redemptive relationship with these people to share the Lord with them and then bring them to our churches.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. We have a bunch of these brochures out on our mission table, and I know Kyle's gonna stick around, and he has more of these. But if you want to become a volunteer, you can just scan that code, and is this one for is it just questions? Obviously, we didn't talk about this beforehand.
We really prepped before this, so no, it was good. So the QR.
They are used to this.
Oh, okay.
Welcome to Grace.
Well, hey, I love it. So don't worry. My church is used to the same thing, so we love it. So, yes, so you can scan the QR codes. There's 2 QR codes inside. One, if you're interested in serving, we would love to have you. And that's really our hope, is this winter we can really spend time with building a volunteer base. Because what my fear is, and my wife's back there in the back, is that we're going to get so many needs that we're not going to have the volunteers to do it. Mm-hmm. And so we want to say, and that's one thing that we've shared, and the Fort Wayne group that we're affiliated with, they've actually commented already. They're like, we don't know how you're doing that many projects already with the volunteers you have. And I was like, my goal is that we stay at a project list of 0. So we're keeping it going. And so if you do have questions, you can scan the QR code, go to the website. You'll see my phone numbers on there as well. Feel free to call me. Or if you're just have a need as well, feel free to post the need out there. This is not just for people in the community, but for our churches as well, because as Sean knows, and I'm sure others, a lot of us do have pride, and we do have times in our life where, we really could use an extra helping hand, even with just, I heard there's some snow outside, so, there might be some people in your neighborhood that need shoveling today. But that's really our hope, is that we all have times in our life that we need help. So reach out, post the need, and then the churches can come around and say, hey, we're willing to do that.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
Just maybe a comment.
Yeah.
You already have a background check. You probably don't need to get checked again. Like you have a concealed carry license or any of those things.
That is correct. So yes, so if you already do have a background check, and so we've had a few volunteers that have reached out and said, hey, I already have a background check, so they sent me an email. I was like, yeah, just send it over to me. Once I get it, I'll put it in our system, and then you'll be approved. So great way to save costs if you already got one or work in a school or a daycare or anything like that. So thank you for adding that. I appreciate it. All based on donations. So we have been blessed with being an organization that is a month old, that we have already had churches come up and volunteer and saying willing to make small one-time donations and things. And that's really our hope, is to come and be able to ask churches and people, hey, would you be willing to donate? And I want to add, people always ask this question when they hear about donations. And I ask the same question. We currently have no one on staff. All funds are going either to administrative costs, which we like to run very lean, which is about $1,000 a year, is for insurance, running the website, and those type of things. All the other funds are going towards projects. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to save as much funds as we can, that especially come this spring, that if there are needs, that we're able to use those funds to be able to deliver to the people that need it. So thank you for the question. Appreciate it.
And they can give on the website, right? There's a donate button.
Correct. Yes, there is a donate button on the side of the website where you can either donate. The beauty of it, as well, is if you are interested and you want to do $5 a month, I'm willing to give. That is a huge blessing over the long term. So you can actually do monthly reoccurring, you can do one-time gifts, and we would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, we pray over all the projects and make sure that as we're going to these projects, that these people are in need, that they need help. And that's always one of our questions is, are you able to help with materials? Or are you able to do this? Trying to figure those things out and be able to deliver that.
Yeah.
So, to become an official volunteer, you do have to be 18 years of age to volunteer. And that is just from a liability and safety perspective. But if you are an adult and you want to bring your kids to a project, we always say that you are able to. We try to we do checks on the people that we're serving as well, just to make sure if there is a history that we send the appropriate volunteers to that project. But yes, if you want to be a volunteer, you do have to be 18 years of age. But we do have a couple youth groups in the area where I'm going to be working with their youth pastors on, they're going to want to do like 5 projects over the summer. And then we'll go and pick those projects and say, hey, these are good ones for you to go do. You can take them. They'll have an adult at each site. And it's really just not that kids ever misbehave. I was a perfect angel as a child. Ask my wife, she'll tell you. And so,
she's
with
not
all
here.
Yeah, I know. Well, notice when I said that question. So, but that is, really just to keep everybody safe, make sure the projects are being done correctly, and that we can follow up on everything. So, yeah, appreciate that. Thank you.
Is there insurance in situations where you're doing a project you want to go to self-insure?
Yes. So the gentleman who actually started NeighborLink is one of the largest lawyers in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which he has a great background statement of faith that his life is amazing. And so on the site, when there are projects coming in, like the needs, they've actually have to agree to a form saying that all liability is on them, that they understand this is a volunteer at your own risk, and those type of things. So we do have insurance to cover the volunteers and the organization and things like that. We've made sure of that. But there are different forms that need to be signed and approvals that are given throughout that. Yeah, so you can actually go through, when you sign up and become a volunteer, it creates a profile for you. So the cool part is, and actually one of my friends, we're going to start a competition. So if you're competitive and you want to join me, you're welcome, but I will win. I'm just saying. You can actually share your profile and be able to show how many projects you've completed, the ones that are on your assigned to you, and ones you have yet to reach out to. So it really creates an entire dashboard. And I wish I had some cool pictures of the website that I could show you right now, but sadly they were not cooperating with me to get that built. But actually when you go on, and my goal is that Mercer County never has a bubble, but any need, it actually brings you to Mercer County and shows you all of the projects that are available. So you can actually go through and click on them and see, okay, hey, what is that? Oh, that's building a wheelchair ramp. I'm not the most handy, but maybe me and these group of gentlemen or these group of people could do this. Or, hey, there's a house that needs cleaned. Maybe my group of women can go do this project. I know that's one of my wife's small groups that she was a part of in Fort Wayne. They would every week go and pick a project and say, hey, we're going to go do this. And I always joked with her. I was like, that sounds scary when like 8 women are coming towards your house. I was like, that would scare me, but they always loved it. So, but yeah, you can share the different link. You can link projects together. You can add saying, hey, this men's group's going to be doing this. So the website, it's really a social media website for serving people in the community is really the goal and heart of it.
Awesome. Yes.
So it is not an official app, but it is based just all on the web. You can download it, so like there is a way you can make it. If you're a little tech savvy, you can link the site into your iPhone and make it look like an app. But as of today, it is just a website for this time being. But from what I hear rumors of, Fort Wayne is working on an actual NeighborLink app. And that's one of the things I'll share about the overall organization. What I love about it is they were never looking at this just being a Fort Wayne, Indiana thing. So now they're actually in 10 different cities and counties. We're actually one of the larger counties. We've taken a broader area and approach because, as I shared with them, Mercer County is not just Salina, Ohio. It is Coldwater, St. Henry, Mendon, Rockford, Fort Recovery, in all these areas. And so that's what they're working on. And so the beauty of it is, and what our vision is as a group when working with them, is that if you're going to, let's say you're going to go to Fort Wayne, Indiana for the weekend. Hey, we want to go do a missions trip in Fort Wayne. A group can actually go and say, hey, we're going to do 3 projects over here, or up in Toledo, or Dayton, in different areas. So the goal is that it actually broadens out across all over the United States and being able to serve and do those needs wherever that it's needed.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So is this like a word of mouth thing, or like how do people know about?
Yeah, so we just officially kicked off in January. So right now we're doing word of mouth. We've actually just talked to Spectrum, so Kevin Sandler on Friday. And I'm going on what I joke a small church tour the next couple weeks and going around and speaking to the churches, sharing. We do have brochures in a lot of different groups. So Call Food Pantry actually has our brochures. Homer Burnett, if you know him, he actually is on our board and super excited about this as well because it's of how Call can partner with NeighborLink because there are people that have needs that they're just not able to serve. The other beauty of it is we are working on sharing with different groups. So we've partnered with the Center on Aging of Mercer County here. I got to make sure I say that correctly so I don't get in trouble. And so we partnered with them, and actually we're going to be working with them on any overflow projects. So they have so many needs in this area that they're not able to fulfill all of them. And there's just some needs that they're not able to do. So they're actually handing out our brochures and handing and saying, hey, go to this site, and they'll be able to help you with this. And then vice versa. And I don't even know if Sean knows this story, so hopefully I'll share this at the next board meeting.
Sure.
I actually just had a young woman reach out to me about 2 weeks ago, and she actually didn't know, she just found our website randomly, which I joked with her. I was like, that had to be a God thing because the site literally was only active for like an hour. And she found herself pregnant, did not have family, did not have anything, didn't know what to do. Of course, there's the worldly people coming around her telling her what she should do, and she didn't want to do that. And I was like, hey, there are organizations in this area that can help you with every need you have. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I was like, all right. I was like, you need to go to the pregnancy center. They can help you with all of these things, like ultrasounds, getting you set up with a doctor, doing these areas. I was like, we're going to reach out to this church. They're going to help you with housing. And that church actually didn't just help her with housing. They adopted her in over this last month. They're actually planning a baby shower for her. She's moved in with one of the families there. They've completely adopted her as a daughter. So right now it is very word of mouth, but our goal is really that we can partner with organizations and say, hey, you should be going to Call, or you should be going to our home, or you should go here. So we're not looking to replace any ministries. We're looking to be that in-between of, are there needs that are met that nobody else can do? So we'll reach out to the churches or vice versa. But if there's anywhere that you would recommend putting information or reaching out to, please let us know or let Sean know, and we'll definitely do it because we want to get this out there as fast and quick as we can. So. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you all very much. Kyle, thank you, my
Thank
friend.
you. I appreciate
He'll stick around if you have any other questions. Like I said, he has brochures, and then there's brochures out on the Mission Center. But I'm really excited about this ministry. I think it's going to be a blessing for people just all around. For those in our community, for those in the church, it's just a very good way to connect. So,
Thank you all very much, and thank you, Sean, as well. So I'll be in the back with my entire family. If you'd like to, don't worry. One of my 3 kids will be more than happy to talk to you and discuss as well. So they would love it. So thank you all
Awesome.
again. Greatly appreciate it.
thank you.